Good evening, everybody, and welcome along to this edition of SportsView on Monday, the 10th of April, 2023, 8 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time for all those who might be catching up with us later on, and we thank you for that. Press the red button on the right-hand side to subscribe to our channel. Good evening, Joe Waters, and welcome again.
Good evening, Pat. Good evening, Derwynne.
Hi, Pat. Hi, Joe. You all right?
And good evening, Derwynne. Great to have you along again as we're going to have a quick look at soccer. Obviously, golf, rugby, and GA, whatever we can get to towards the end of the, but we'll see how it goes. And I suppose I did see a lot of sport over the weekend, and both live, which was forgettable, but and on the telly. But anyway, Joe knows what I'm talking about there. But in the Premiership, there was good wins for Crystal Palace, Man United, Villa, Newcastle, West Ham, and Spurs and Wolves. And I think there was a referee in the Spurs-Brighton match who certainly needed to go to Specsavers to say the least of it. It was one of the most shocking performances I've seen in a Premiership match for a long, long time, both VAR and the referee. But we'll get to that later on. Arsenal and Liverpool played out a draw. Arsenal went 2-0 up, as we know. And I suppose, as one wag said, Liverpool is all clapped out, is it? we say that. And and then, as I've said about, but did you see anyone of you see the Spurs-Brighton match?
Yeah, I watched it.
Yeah, what do you think, Joe?
I thought it was disgraceful, to be honest. How the referee can be that close to the play and not see that Højbjerg steps on Mitoma's foot is beyond me. And I mean, and then it goes to VAR and they overrule it. And I mean, and VAR has no excuse because they can see plain as daylight that he's stepping on his foot. I mean, that's a penalty. I mean, you had the Arsenal one where Rob Holding kicks the back of I don't forget whose leg it was. I think Jota's leg. And I mean, that's a penalty as well. He's trying to go through the guy. And, to be honest, I thought that Liverpool had a genuine call for a penalty when Salah went down, when in the middle in the box on the edge of the 6-yard box, when Gabriel is all over him and he's got his arms all over him and he's holding him. And then you go back to the Brighton match and one of the Brighton centre halves is being pulled by the shirt.
Yeah,
by a Tottenham player.
You were trying to change his shirt. That's true.
Yeah, and nothing happens with it. So can somebody explain to me how it is legal to have your arms around somebody and be pulling somebody and pulling their shirt in the middle of the box, and then in the middle of the field it would be a free kick and a booking?
I think it's tried to say it, but I think if it was Man City and Tottenham, Man City would have got 2 penalties. Derwynne, what do you think, Derwynne? Did you see any of it?
Yeah, I mean, it's to me, this whole thing with VAR is just, farcical. I mean, not that, what was it, a couple of weeks ago, it was a fingertip offside, wasn't it?
Yeah, a thumb.
Yeah.
A thumb, yeah.
I mean, really? Have we got it down, that you could be a fingertip offside now? And let alone all these decisions with penalties, because some of them are just a joke. And then, obviously, with Robertson and the linesman, I mean...
So, Derwynne, what do you make of that? What did you make of that?
Well, I'm not sure what to make of it, because I'm not sure if the linesman thought maybe it was someone who'd run on the pitch and he's kind of lifted his arm up to protect himself, because, people do get on the pitch, don't they?
Yes, they do.
And Robertson didn't walk towards him, did he? He was walking from kind of behind him.
Well, he was heading towards the referee, and Andy Robertson approaches him from behind, and he puts his hand on him first of all. And to me, all the linesman does is he puts his arm out like that to get him away from him. He doesn't put it out. I'm reading the press this morning.
Oh, like he's been elbowed.
The elbow, come on. That wasn't an elbow. There was nowhere near an elbow.
No.
And that's Andy Robertson is the biggest whiner that I've ever come across when things are not going his way. But yet, when he's doing well and the game is going well, and this is nothing against Liverpool or anything like that. This is the player I'm talking about now. He is in people's faces, goading them and being disrespectful and laughing at them and all this. And let's be right here. Robertson had a bit of a nightmare in the game. He was involved in the 2 Arsenal goals.
Well, I don't know.
And he had previous with the linesman because he was on his side, and there's a photograph of him getting into the linesman's face over a call. So to me, there was absolutely nothing in that whatsoever. And the press are trying to make it out to be something. Robertson is trying to make it out to be something. And if anything, Robertson put his hand on him to start off with. In my opinion, the linesman did not retaliate. He was just, and to me, it was just an automatic gesture to get somebody away from you. Is all it was. And that to me was it. And when you're talking, when you have the so-called experts talking and saying now that, this should cost him his job. Why didn't it cost Mitrovic his job? Why didn't it cost Bruno Fernandes his job?
Yeah.
Look,
well, I don't know if you saw Keane at half-time on Sky.
No.
Keane is, to me, Keane is one of the best pundits out there. He is very blunt and just says what he wants to say. But, he turned around and said it's about time that these players started worrying about their own game and stopped play acting and being babies about everything.
Yeah.
And he went to town on Robertson. He said Robertson should not be worried about a linesman putting his arm up. He should be more worried about the fact that he's playing like a drain and he's not fit to be out there, really. He's useless. Keane was terrible. And Keane, to me, Keane's a bit of a, I think he's a legend with regards his attitude to playing football. And I don't think, he gave it out to the referees when he was playing, didn't he?
He did.
But at the same time, I think he probably would have taken it if they'd given it back to him as well.
Yeah, he would. He would.
He was just that kind of guy, wouldn't he? But that whole thing yesterday, to me, if you come up to one of those officials from behind and grab him, my first reaction was that he thought that was someone out the crowd come to attack him.
Well, he didn't. In fairness to the incident, I didn't see it until the replay that night, but he couldn't have seen him and he couldn't have known who it was because behind him it happened, But there is a bigger problem in soccer apart from the officials. Many of the officials do not respect professional footballers. Do not. Many of them, not a majority, a minority, do not respect them, number one. And they do treat them with contempt in many cases. I've seen
Pat, you've only got to watch. I don't care who it is, whether it's Southampton and West Ham.
Yeah.
Two of the bottom teams. Forget the top teams.
Yeah.
Look at the abuse they're giving these officials. And, in reality, if that was in rugby, they'd end up with half of the team.
Well,
they'd just get sent off.
Well, talking about, oh, God, we'll get on to rugby later on, or there's some cracking games.
If you look at some of you've only got to look, and I'm trying to defend the officials, but you've only got to look at the abuse they're come on, Joe, you've played professional football. Yeah. You've been on the wing and you've heard spectators calling players names, let alone what they call in the linesman. I've been
well, Joe, before you answer that, Joe, I mean, really and truly, if the officials want respect, referees and linesmen, they need to do their job in a professional way. And that display yesterday between Brighton and Spurs was shocking. But the shocking part of it is there'll be no sanction on that referee for not doing his job. But there'll be a big sanction on Robertson. And I'm not excusing him for doing something silly. There'll be no sanction on the referee. He won't lose his wages or his job or his position for being a disgrace to the whistle, Joe. What do you think?
Well, I mean, to be fair, to the officials. I mean, a lot of us, I was as bad as anybody when I played. Right? I remember a referee, Arnold Challoner, a great guy. And I remember we're playing a game and I'm in his ear. I am just like giving him abuse like you wouldn't believe. And all of a sudden he turned to me and he told me to F off. Haven't you ever made a mistake? And I went, oh, yeah, I have, Arnold. He said, okay, so we're all right then? Yeah, we're fine. And that was the end of it. Right? So he put me in my place straight away, you know, and referees in those days were, yeah, they were good guys. Gordon Hill, there was two from Leicester, particularly Gordon Hill and Roger Kirkpatrick.
I remember
were two guys that were very down-to-earth guys that spoke to players the way players spoke, and players respected them, you know, and it was, you know, that's the way it is. Now it seems to be, and the hardest part of all of this is that everything that an official does in this day and age is magnified by TV.
Yeah.
Because everything they do is second, third, and fourth guessed. You know, I mean, we only go to the Ireland-England rugby match with the red card, and you have other people now evaluating it because they've all had a chance to see it on TV and what they didn't see up close to it, and they're having a go at that. So the officials are open to all of this criticism, and nobody says a thing about the players. You know,
that's true. That's true. But Arsenal, do we think that Arsenal lost 3 points? You know, considering the start they had in the match, and I really, it was on the radio. I was going somewhere else at the time, and I said that's over, and 28 minutes gone, 2-0 up. Derwynne, do you think they lost 3 points?
Yeah, I think they lost it rather than Liverpool getting a draw.
Yeah.
Well, I to be honest, I think it's, in my opinion, it was down to Granit Xhaka.
Yeah.
He had no reason to do what he did with Trent Alexander-Arnold over there. But they're winning the game. They're winning the game handily, and he decides to get into an altercation with a Liverpool player. And anybody that's ever been to Anfield and anybody that's ever played in front of the cop knows you don't need very much to get them wound up.
No.
They're already wound up as it is.
Yeah.
And then when they feel that you're, not only are you beating their team, but now you're also disrespecting them, and it's a local boy in Trent Alexander-Arnold, and now all of a sudden you get them into the game, and all of a sudden Arsenal lose all their composure.
Yeah.
They can't get a hold of the ball again. They've lost all their discipline, and I mean, frankly they were a bit fortunate to still be in it. I mean, Mo Salah doesn't miss that penalty, it might have been a whole different result.
Gary Neville was really interesting because he turned round on the commentary yesterday and said that Ferguson, the last thing he said when they were at Anfield, as the bell went to go out the changing room door, he asked every single player to keep the Liverpool fans quiet. Do not do anything. And Neville said he would go to Neville, he'd go to Roy Keane, he'd go to Van Nistelrooy and say, whatever you do not do anything out there that stirs that crowd. If we're winning, they go quiet. Liverpool lose a little bit. They get a bit despondent because the fans are on their back.
Yeah.
Rather than on your back, they're on their back.
Precisely.
Gary Neville kept saying, what is Checker doing? He's just going to wind the crowd up, and next thing you know, they score.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think they're still in a pretty good position. I mean, obviously it's just between Arsenal and Man City. We agree there, but it's almost a given now that Klopp is gone at the end of the season from Liverpool.
No, he's not going to be gone. And by the way, I don't think that they're in that great a position.
Who?
I mean, City have a game in hand, and they have to play Arsenal in a couple of weeks at the Etihad. So it's going to be a real interesting one how that game goes, because City, I'm not sure when City are going to play their game in hand, because of the European Cup, or Champions League, and what have you, and the FA Cup. So it's going to be. I think that there's a lot to go on this. Arsenal have got to recover and play West Ham next week, another London derby. They've got Chelsea in another London derby. So it's not, they've got to go to Newcastle, who are in good form at the moment.
Flying high.
So, this is by no means, and Newcastle are a team that could really get into Arsenal's head by the way they play, by the way they press you, they get all over you, they give you a little bit extracurricular when the ball is gone. They're not afraid to do that.
Yeah.
So there's some big games to come yet, and there can be a lot of points dropped. And City look awful good right now.
Be interesting to see how Arsenal cope if they put that San Maximus or whatever his name is
right
from the start, because Holding and White do not look solid, do they, at the back?
Yeah.
No.
And
Well,
they need cover.
Well, you saw Zinchenko as well. I mean, for the second goal for the equalizer, I mean, he gets nutmegged on the edge of his own box. I mean, he's very much kind of a, you're the two sides to Trent Alexander-Arnold in one play right there, because Trent is liable to get done like that defending, but he's capable of doing what he does, not making the guy, nipping around him and putting a brilliant ball in.
Yeah.
It was absolutely fantastic. So, and then, that you have the Arsenal guy who they're all raving about, saying he's all this and he's all that. He's the left back that pushes into midfield and, makes it like they've got 4 or 5 in midfield and overruns it a little bit. But his defending is a bit dodgy.
I just think they look a bit suspect at the back when they go up against speed.
Yeah.
When they go up against some speedies, they don't look very solid at the back.
No.
And to me, I think Arsenal have got a bit of a reputation now for blowing a few games, haven't they?
Yeah, but the other thing is, Man City are involved in a lot of competitions. I suppose as against that, then they have a big squad, and I think they'll be able to cope with all those competitions. The question of tiredness and so many games.
I don't think it makes a blind bit of difference to Guardiola with that level of squad that he's got, because he's not pulling in like youth players, is he? He's pulling in full internationals who aren't, and they've all bought into the rota situation, haven't they?
Yeah, they have. I mean, he didn't even use Riyad Mahrez against Southampton, did he? He didn't even get a field.
And he pulls Haaland off when Haaland's on a hat trick.
Yeah,
he does. Yeah, he does. Yeah,
he's not worried about pulling Haaland. Joe, you've managed. If you had a player who's on a hat trick, would you pull him off?
No, not in my day. You wouldn't. No. But to be honest, you wouldn't have had somebody to go on that could have taken his place. That might have been,
And that's true. I mean, I don't think.
But yeah.
I think the whole of that City squad, they all know that they're going to miss some games and play some games. I think the way Guardiola is they all understand it. If you don't like it, go somewhere else, because that's the way it is.
He already sent your man to Bayern Munich.
Yeah,
didn't he? Because he wasn't getting his game time, and when he wasn't getting his game time, he was sulking.
Yeah,
and Guardiola has no time for it. You're either a part of it or you're not.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, see ya.
Well,
I don't care how much you cost.
Yeah, that's one thing I admire in Guardiola, as a manager, it's he's managing the team and everybody knows that he's managing the team. I know it's a stupid thing to say, but that's the way it is. By the way, lads, I can't miss that there's a legend of the game celebrated his 81st birthday today. Now, Derwynne, you're too young to remember him, that's your excuse there, it's no problem, Ian Callaghan.
I remember Ian Callaghan.
81 today. He played 857 times for Liverpool. Now, obviously, players like that in that era, as you know, Joe, they would have careers like that. But now, I mean, for a player to play 857 times for a club today, it won't happen. If they play 100 times, it'll probably happen. But he was a fantastic player. Do you remember him, Joe, playing?
I played against him.
Yeah?
Played against him. Played against him a couple of times. Played against him in the semi-final of the Cup at Old Trafford in '74 in the 0-0 game. And then I played against him at Swansea when he went to Swansea, when Tommy Smith went with John Toshak and Alan Curtis and those guys, when they went through the divisions. Same as Watford, at that time, Watford and Swansea went through the divisions, not all in a row, but with a couple in between. So so I've had my experiences with those guys. Now that's giving my age away. Yeah.
I was just about to say, Joe.
It doesn't matter, Joe. I'm with you. I remember some of those times as well. And I thought Ian Callan was a fantastic player for people. You can Google him. For people who are listening into this, you're looking at SportsView here on their media.tv. Press the red button to subscribe to our channel. Tell all your friends about us. You're with Joe Waters, Derwynne Honan, and myself every Monday night. And now we're going to get on to golf. I mean, obviously, probably the most prestigious of all the majors is the Masters. I think every professional golfer obviously would love to play in the Masters, not alone that, but love to win it. Only one golfer can win it every year. And as you know, Derwynne is our golfing expert, but I was watching it right over the whole weekend, amongst other things. And John Rahm, he became the fourth Spaniard to win a green jacket. Is that right? Or there's four Spaniards?
Yeah, four Spaniards. Seve, Lasbal, Garcia, and Rahm.
And Rahm, that's right. Seve won it twice, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Seve has two of them. So they have 5 jackets in Spain. Let's be fair. But anyway, John Rahm was once he got the grips and once he went ahead, he was supreme. Did you watch it, Derwynne, I presume?
Yeah, I think Koepka just never got going from the restart. The last whatever it was, he had to play 9-10 holes or whatever it was.
Can golfers? I know I'm going to cost you. Can golfers lose momentum?
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, and you think we're not going to make an excuse that Rahm deserved to win it, but Koepka, did he lose that sort of groove he was in?
Yeah, that rain delay and then the suspension. Yeah. I think that slowed up Koepka, and I think what we probably don't realise as well, and some of the viewers wouldn't understand maybe, is that these guys, they're in the gym before they go out to play more than they are on the practice ground or on the putting green. So, they've probably been up since 3-4 o'clock in the morning. That's not excuses. I mean, it's not an excuse, but I think Koepka just lost his rhythm.
Yes.
And I think what didn't really help, and to a point, it wouldn't have helped Rahm either, is that they got stuck behind Cantlay, who is he's like a snail going around the golf course. In front of that group, they had Bennett, the amateur kid, who was getting slower and slower and slower.
Well, they commented on that on the Golf Channel, and it's shocking that the officials seemingly did nothing about it in a tournament like the Masters, where Cantlay and him, Bennett, the amateur, were very, very slow.
That wouldn't have helped Koepka, because Koepka's one practice swing, look at it go. He's not, he doesn't fanny around, flapping about. He just gets on with it. And they were waiting really from the start. They waited from the first fairway.
And it's obviously it's a par 72 for people who may not know nothing about the Masters. It's 7,545 yards is the course. And it's not just that. It's not just that, as we were saying before we came on air there. It's a very physically challenging course. And really, Tiger Woods, I think we saw the end of Tiger Woods, did we?
Yeah, I think I think he'll go to the Masters to be there, but I don't think he'll play anymore. He's struggling to walk around that golf course. His limp's getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
And that is one hell of a golf course to walk it. I've walked it. I've been lucky enough to play it, but you do come in off it. What we all forget is it's a par 72. It's not really. It's more like a par 76 because the members play 10 as a par 5. They play 11 as a par 5.
Oh, I see.
Let alone what's on the front. So there's
Yeah.
probably, in reality, there's probably 3 or 4 more par 5s on that golf course.
Yes.
11 500 yards. And that's two tough shots into that green. And you mentally, I the first time I played it, I hit a good second shot into 9, and the lad from the club who was caddying for me literally said that's gone past the flag, and I was like, well, it can't be that far. It was right down the flag.
Yeah.
And he said, no, we'll be doing really well. Keep this on the green. And I'm looking at him thinking, what's he talking about? Keep it on the green. I was about 15 feet above that flag that they used yesterday, and I knocked it clean off the green, and I kind of know what I'm doing. And I knocked it off the green. So when people say to me, quite often they'll say, what do you think I'd go round in? I think an 18 handicapper would not go round there in 90. He would go round there at about 120.
I won't ask you what Donald Trump will go around in Newcastle.
It's not just how fast the greens are, it's how hard it is to chip to them. And Faldo was really good last night on the commentary because he was explaining that on certain holes, you're trying to land it into the top of a coffee table.
Right.
And you're not at the flag. You are 20 yards right of the flag.
Yeah.
And in some cases, you're 10 yards past the flag, trying to land it on a coffee table to allow it to come round the slope and back to a flag. And, I 13, they've lengthened that now by 35 yards, 13, but that's over 500 odd yards. And where it goes to the left of that green and it falls off, where Koepka hit it last night, he's chipping over probably about 2.5, maybe 3 feet up onto that green, even though he's only 6 foot off the putting surface.
Yes.
You're chipping it waist high to get it up over that little bank. And what looks like on a TV that it's a foot high, it's not. It's like 3 foot high.
Yes.
And when you start throwing the ball up in the air from that kind of distance, you're not going to get that much spin on it. And again, your landing areas, when you're chipping from off the green, instead of a coffee table, you're now trying to land it on a plate. And if you miss that plate, you're in all kinds of difficulty because the ball will just go where you didn't expect it to go. It'll just go left and right like you can't imagine.
And the spokesman for the PGA, this poster boy, imploded again, McIlroy.
Well, that was a question I was going to have for you too.
Yeah.
What do you make of this? Guys in the middle of a tournament doing a commentary, the actual players like Rory talking, and then was it Jordan Spieth was the other one, or was
Justin Thomas?
Justin Thomas. I knew it was one of those two, and both of them missed the cut.
Yeah, if you notice,
I remember seeing this years ago when I went to Brazil with the Irish team. And we're coming off at halftime, and I see radio guys coming out and talking to the Brazilian players. And I'm thinking to myself, that wouldn't happen anywhere in England. You would not be allowed to break somebody's concentration like that in the middle of a game. Yeah. And here is, and now I'm thinking that, like you're just saying there, Derwynne, that Brooks lost his momentum because of the slow play in front of him, which would disrupt him, because golf is such a mind game.
It is.
I mean, it's such an individual mind game that it only takes the least little thing to get you off of your groove and make you second guess yourself, and get you frustrated. So I just wondered about that. And
if you think about it, Joe, they would have been asking virtually every single player in that field to have a go at that, right? And if you look at it there, Rahm didn't want to do it. Brooks Koepka didn't want to do it. And the ones that didn't do it as a reason because they said no. You know, and I get McIlroy wanting to do it because I'm probably the worst person in the world to speak about McIlroy because I'm not a McIlroy fan. I think he doesn't sometimes just let his golf do the talking.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think Justin Thomas, he seems like a nice guy. But again, I think it was such a bad idea. He actually kept that earpiece in while he played a shot. Justin Thomas. He actually commentated through the shot.
He did.
That to me, either you're very, very confident of what you're doing or you're kind of showing off, I think.
Well, Rahm, just for people who may have missed it, he finished at -12, 65, 69, 73 and 69. 4 good rounds. Mickelson was runner-up with Koepka on -8. And good old Phil Mickelson was my golfer of the tournament. 71, 69, 75. And then his final round was 65, as opposed to Koepka's final round, 75. And Patrick Reed was finished up on -7, 71, 70, 72, and 68. They're 3 live golfers up at top of the leaderboard.
Well, you know, that was an interesting one as well, because one of the commentators or one of the reporters in the press this morning tried to say that Brooks Koepka folded because on the Live Golf Tour, they have no competition. Now, that doesn't make any sense because you have Phil doing what he did. You have Patrick Reed doing what he did.
Yeah.
And they're all on the Live Tour. So it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. No. What Derwynne said about the slow play and how the guys in front impacted that. Now that I can understand. That to me would be a very valid reason for something like that happening. You know?
I think, well, you know, Koepka is a great player, but he's still on a confidence trail at the moment. You know, he's getting a bit more confident about his golf.
He is.
But at the same time, when he went behind yesterday, there was a little bit of the, you know, I was texting my mates while we were watching it, and it was a little bit like the wind's gone out of his sails a little bit.
Yes.
And his head went down. And you could see that in the way he started to play, because he wasn't being aggressive. He was being a little bit defensive, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And Rahm had all the momentum. Rahm, you know, and he just kept on ploughing forwards. It was really interesting on 18, because when Rahm hit it into the trees at 18, and for it to ricochet out, again, you kind of go, did someone just nut that back out, or did that really hit a tree and come back out? Because it didn't sound like it hit a tree.
Now, our own, we have to mention our own Mr. Lowry. Lowry finished at -2, 68, 72, and 273s. Did reasonably well, was up at -5 or -6 at one stage in the leaderboard, but he didn't maintain it. But, you know, 3.24 million John Ram won for the thing, but apart from that and all the sponsorship, Mickelson got 1.58 million, as the same as Koepka. Patrick Reed got $744,000. Shane Lowry got $324,000. And Seamus Power, who finished way down the field, picked up $54,000. It's probably one of the best tournaments around, all right, there's no doubt about that.
They're not worried about the money, those guys. No, they're way past that stage.
Yeah. And you know what? I wasn't totally on board with this in the beginning. You guys had me talk a little bit about it, about Liv. But you know what? The interest that the Liv golfers versus the PGA golfers now, that is throwing that in there, that is a huge shot in the arm for golf.
It is.
To have that competition.
It is.
You know?
And did you see Phil Mickelson's interview with CBS?
No, I did not see that one.
Yeah, it's very, very good. Mickelson is very measured, very good, you know. He said, all we want as professional golfers is to compete against each other at tournaments like these, you know. That's why we play golf, is to compete with each other, you know. Not to be excluded, but to compete with each other.
Do you know Sky are if you could get normal golf on terrestrial TV, you know, Sky's behaviour over the Masters, you know, you've got Faldo, fair play to Faldo, he did call it the Live Tour, but you had Butch Harmon on there, Rich Beam, Nick Doherty, Laura Davis, Paul McGinley, and they were calling it the Other Tour. And you're like, oh, grow up. I mean, it's, you know, McGinley's a great example that McGinley would probably be one of those players who, if was offered like stupid money, would go. I mean, Koepka went because he didn't think his knees were going to hold out.
Yeah.
And he needed a future.
Exactly. And a lot of golfers win for different reasons. It's not about the money. You know, the money helps, but it wasn't all about the money. But as you said, Sky, I didn't watch much of the coverage on Sky. I can't stand Faldo now. I can't stand Nick Faldo at all. I really think he's one of the biggest. I think he's one of the biggest assholes in golf. And
Faldo was really good.
I don't disagree. I didn't watch much of him. I watched it all on the other channel.
He was giving a proper insight into how to play that golf course.
Right.
And I thought that was fantastic what he did.
Yes. Well, he would know because
you know,
obviously.
He's done it, been there and got the t-shirt, hasn't he? But
absolutely,
and to me, you know, the Live Golf really has boosted the PGA Tour of America. You know, the Moynihan, what Mickelson said when Live first came out is that the tour is monopolizing players and monopolizing the money. You know, within a year, they've boosted all the prize funds without getting money off sponsors and different things. So,
exactly.
You know, you sit there and kind of go, well, none of that would have happened without Mickelson kind of being the first one to voice it.
Exactly.
And I get Mickelson. He's gone very much into his shell and doesn't want to get drawn in on different things. And yeah, he said a few stupid things and stuff like that. But, you know, that if you notice, the players were still talking to each other. That this animosity is media driven, like Joe was saying. It's not player driven.
The players, I mean, I love watching, and not because I didn't live golf. I love watching Patrick Reed. I love watching him play golf. I don't know much about the game technically, but I like his attitude. I like Patrick Reed. I like Mickelson. To me, was the golfer of the tournament. I know it's a stupid thing to say he didn't win it, but when you consider his age and consider all the other things that went on, I think he was just superb.
You know, Phil wouldn't be the first guy to say something that wasn't the smartest thing in the world. You know, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No,
you know, he hasn't done anybody any harm.
No.
And, you know, really, in the great scheme of things, now all of a sudden you've got all these other golfers able to make more money than they were making before.
Yeah.
And some of them are set up for life, you know, don't have to worry about it anymore. So now can even concentrate more on their golf. You know, we all know what it's like to be trying to make a few bucks and keep yourself going. But all of a sudden, when you're playing from a comfort zone, you know, the pressure is off. I don't have to make the cut on this one, so I can go out and give it a real go.
Yeah.
It's like one of my coaches once told me. He said, you know, when players retire and become coaches, they become better players.
Yeah.
Because they're not under pressure anymore.
Yes.
So all the things that they were trying to do when they were players, they're able to do off the cuff now because there's no pressure on them.
SportsView is the program here on LairMedia.tv. Press the red button to subscribe to our channel and tell all your friends about us. And we're delighted with all the viewership. The figures are excellent. And that's down to the two lads here with me every Monday night. And thanks, lads, for your time. But just briefly on rugby, the European Cup is down to the last four. We have two French teams in it. La Rochelle, Roger, our own Rog, and Toulouse, Exeter, and Leinster are into the last four of the European Champions Cup. I watched the La Rochelle match, lads, in their home stadium. Did anyone see any rugby over the weekend?
No, we didn't have it on over here.
See, that's my whole weekend gone, and people will see. It's brilliant, but I love watching a good rugby team who are well organised with a fantastic characters up in the front row, you know. Big 18-stone fellas who can run, you know. I just love watching them, you know, walk through people. They were playing Saracens, that's La Rochelle were, and they won it handily enough. But they'll be playing Exeter, and Leinster are playing Toulouse in the other semi-final, so they were down to the last four. Munster, I'm afraid, are way behind. They're going way back in the pecking order. They need a whole new rethink down here in Munster, unfortunately for their senior rugby squad, but we wish them the best going forward, as they say. Limerick hurlers, Joe. Limerick hurlers won their 14th National Hurling League title. Now, Derwynne didn't know that, I bet. No. There's a bit of information out there.
No,
you didn't know that Limerick.
I missed that Irish cricket stuff.
They won their 14th National League. So Tipperary have 19, Kilkenny have 19, and both Cork and Limerick now have 14 each, and Galway have 11 in the pecking order. We had the beginning of the chase for the Sam Maguire Cup, which is the premier football competition here in Ireland in Gaelic football, Derwynne. And we had wins over the weekend for Clare, Armagh, New York, and Roscommon. And few surprises there. New York won their first match in 22 years in senior football. They beat Leitrim in New York with they'd be made up of exiles and people living there, but nevertheless, it was a good win for them. So there you are. New York had a good win. So their Mayo were very disappointed. They were disappointed because they were favourites to win against Roscommon, and they're really there. But Cork, I was at some of the Cork match, and it was shocking. Cork and Clare, Cork were favourites. You couldn't back them, but Clare won it by a point. And Cork were, as I was saying to Joe before we came on air, I can't use the language I use because we're being recorded now, but they were just shocking, and I don't know where they're going. They're going nowhere, and I think they should just take a break now and stick to hurling and give up the football for a while. Anyway, Limerick destroyed Kilkenny in the hurling, and really, when you look at it, coming up to the championship, which is starting in 2 weeks' time, the hurling that is, Limerick are firm favourites to win 4 in a row. Not alone are they favourites, in my opinion, but they're so far ahead of every other team that if Limerick were excluded from the championship, the other 4 or 5 teams behind them would have a fantastic competition. But because Limerick are where they are, and they worked very hard for this, remember, they won a lot of underage titles. They won 3 All-Ireland under-21 titles in the old grade, and they built from there. And people were sagging them for years because they were used to go out and they maybe win 1 or 2 matches and they were gone. But they persevered. They had a plan. They stuck to it. And now they're going for an unprecedented 4 in a row, which has only been done by Cork, Wexford, and Tipperary, I think. I'm not too sure. I'll look it up for the next time. But so Limerick for the hurling. Now getting back to soccer, lads. Chelsea have Frank Lampard back at the helm. Joe, what's that?
I honest to God don't know where this is going.
Why? I'm asking you why.
I really don't know. I mean, I really don't know. It just beggars belief. I mean, that you would put somebody that has already failed there once back in there. For whatever reason you're going to put him in there, he's not going to get the job full time. So why do you not get somebody in who can spend the rest of the season and be in the Champions League? So you're having your chosen person there, and he's working with the players on a daily basis, and he has a couple of months to get to know them, and then devise a plan for the summer and your summer spending and go from there. So it's the same with Leicester City. The only ones that seem to have made a a real smart decision are Crystal Palace with
But
Roy Hodgson.
Well, Roy Hodgson, to me, not because Crystal Palace are winning, Roy Hodgson was underestimated by the so-called media in Britain because he's English. And you have to be a German or an Italian or a Portuguese or someone else to be a really good manager, you know? I mean, Roy Hodgson has proved his mettle.
So, Nottingham Forest beat Malmo in the European Cup final. Right? Who were the coaches of the Malmo team?
Oh, they're Roy Hodgson.
Bobby Houghton and Roy Hodgson
were
the coaches of that Malmo team. And, Roy Hodgson is a terrific coach. And you're right. And what I don't like about the British press is that they get personal about people.
They do.
And they used, like, Graham Taylor was turn the peg. Steve McLaren was the Wally with the brolly.
Yes.
And you had Roy Hodgson because of his he has a little bit of a speech impediment, so it was Woy. And all they ever do is try to poke fun at people who are really good people, who are good coaches, and they never give them a chance. I mean, Roy Hodgson has done fantastic work wherever he's been. He took Fulham to a European final. And I think they lost in the final in the finish, but when he was at Fulham, at Palace, he did fantastic things. All of a sudden, he goes back to Palace. Now, Palace were a team that, under Patrick Vieira for a while, were doing some good stuff. He had it going there for a while. Then he lost the plot a little bit, and they became very one-dimensional, very defensive-minded. They did not want to lose games. So some of the players that they have, like Eloise and although Wolf Zaha is not playing now, and the other kid that plays there, I forget his name. But all of a sudden, like, the dogs are off the leashes, and these guys can go and play the way they are talented enough to play. And these guys are playing with a freedom. I watched the Leeds game. They just tore Leeds apart.
They did. In Ellen Road.
Yeah.
Well, Roy Hodgson, that's what we were talking about, and he's proved his mettle there. And as we said, Chelsea with Frank Lampard, I don't know what the answer is. It's apparently still a big club, I suppose. Well, when they say a big club, they're a wealthy club, Chelsea, but really it's I suppose a sign of the times when a club like Chelsea, I mean, a manager won't just go for money anymore. I mean, I think Graham Potter should have learned that lesson himself on a personal level, Graham Potter is, I don't think his record at Brighton should be forgotten because of the tryst with a club that's badly run like Chelsea. I don't think so. I think it's the worst run club in the Premiership, manager-wise, football-wise, Chelsea, that is, There's something not quite right about that club, and I don't see them getting a top-class manager, But do you think that Klopp is going to remain in Liverpool?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. He's done so much there. I just don't see any way that he's going to be going. I mean, he's going to get the opportunity to rebuild because obviously they need that. They need to do that. So I think this window in the summer and the window after Christmas are going to be the two important ones for him, that he gets some people in to make a difference. And, you have to think, what's his name came on yesterday? Thiago Alcantara. He's been out for weeks, and I'd forgotten that he's been out for weeks. And I mean, the guy steps onto the field and he just oozes class the minute he steps out there. So having a player like that unavailable makes a huge difference to you.
That's true.
You had Jota that was injured for a while. Now he's back. You have the other kid, That South American kid that got hurt, that was out, that was doing a great job for him. You've got Nunes, who will have another 6 months under his belt by the time next season starts. So they've got a lot of stuff happening, and they just need midfield players and a couple of defenders.
And poor old Mick McCarthy is gone after 14 games at Blackpool. Joe Grimsey won this evening. I'll be pleased on it. The 1-2-1 away. I was looking at the table, League Two. If they'll win every game that's left now, I think they have 6 games left.
Yeah.
If they'll win every game, they could get into the playoffs.
Yeah, they're not ready. They lost 4-1 at home.
They did
on Saturday, which they're very much in kind of in transition. One of the clubs we should be watching out for, Bradford City.
Yeah,
Bradford City gets 16,000 at their home games in League Two.
Go away.
Yeah,
fantastic! I'm delighted. I love the Bantams.
Then you've got the non-league, where you have Wrexham and Notts County, both on 100 points.
Yeah.
And only one of them can go up automatically.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's great stuff happening down there in the lower regions.
As a politician used to say in this country, I was up early yesterday morning. No, what day is today? Monday. Yesterday morning was Sunday. I had to attend my son's match first, but I'm afraid they had a very disappointing result. But they can still, they'll still get promoted, but they can still get promoted as champions. They have 2 games left, and they need a win and a draw from the last match to be completely certain, or depend on results behind them. They have 2 games left. We wish them well. Bunratty Cratloe FC, we wish you very well, lads, in the thing. But I was just going to say there, so you're going to say that Klopp is going to wait and Klopp is going to be decided on that, is it? Klopp is going to remain at Liverpool. That's your take on that.
That's my take on it. Derwynne, what's your opinion on that?
I think Klopp won't get sacked, but I'm just wondering if a big club came in for Klopp, whether he'd go. But he might go, this isn't working for me, or Bayern Munich or Paris Saint-Germain, or one of the big Spanish clubs came in for him. Would he go, I need another challenge?
That's interesting.
Wrexham beat Notts County 3-2.
Oh, wow.
They beat Notts County 3-2.
I don't think Liverpool itself will get rid of Klopp. If Klopp goes, it's because Klopp's been tempted away, to me.
Away.
Yeah.
Okay, now the National League, for people who are interested, I'm interested in my Wrexham are top. They have 41 games played. They have 100 points. You're right, Joe. And they have Notts County have 42 games played. They have 97, so they have a game more than them played. And the rest are nowhere really. But Wrexham, they've only lost 3 games, and they have a plus 67 goal difference. So they'll probably go up.
When you've got a guy playing for you at Wrexham, that's probably earning championship money in league football.
Yeah.
That's and he's scored, I think, on his own, has probably scored in the 30s in goals, hasn't he? I forget his name now. He scored against Sheffield United the other week.
Yeah.
But so they're paying good money. So they really want to.
Wrexham scores were Mullen, Mindy, and Lee. Mullen, Mindy, and Lee scored their 3 goals. And Bostock and Cameron Bostock, I remember him, Notts County. He scored the goal for Notts County. But anyway, so we wish. I didn't realize about Bradford City getting a huge crowd like that,
Yeah.
Well, Derwynne, I'll be meeting you up next season. We'll be going to the home games at Luton Town, and they'll be playing your wonderful Man United, because they won today as well. Luton, a very good win. So I'm looking forward to going over there to welcoming Liverpool and Man United to Kenilworth.
Yeah, I'll come and pick you up at the airport with Ryanair. I'll get your Ryanair flight. You sort the ticket.
Check the front wheels before you go anywhere.
Yeah, I remember being there in the 70s, but that's a long time ago, I presume much hasn't changed. Have they since, Derwynne?
I think they're still at the same ground, aren't they?
Yeah, oh yeah, they're still the same.
They've just got grass now rather than that.
Yeah,
the carpet.
Yeah, fantastic. And we're I'm fingers crossed that they'll be go, because it won't take long for it to go from Shannon to Luton anyway. You know, it's only an hour's flight. Like,
it won't take long for you either to get back when Man United beating you 8-0 or something.
A nice tight pitch. We'll be yeah, we'll be able to give them a belt of the whip going down the sideline. But lads, it's been a blast again. So we can say that it's still up for grabs, the Premiership between Arsenal and Man City, and probably Newcastle an outside chance depending on results. But Liverpool won't make the top four.
It's going to be a very tough ask for them to do that. They would have to win. I mean, they would have to win practically the rest of their games, and other teams would have to falter.
Yeah.
And I don't see the combination of like the likes of United, Newcastle, Spurs going. You're asking a lot there for those guys to be Brighton to be dropping off. I think Arsenal have got to play Brighton as well.
They have Yeah.
So that's not going to be an easy game for them.
No.
So it's so that there's still a heck of a lot of games to go, and and I don't know about you lads, but I am getting fed up of managers that come from the European mainland and complain about the schedule and the games they're having to play and it's not right, where injuries are caused because of this, because of that. You know what? You knew what you were getting into when you took your job, and your man from Man United is the latest one to be whining about it because Rashford got injured against Everton on Saturday, and Ten Hag. So he's complaining, well, they shouldn't have given us this time kickoff. He's starting to sound like Klopp when he was at his most miserable about, well, everyone's against us and we're this, that. No, everybody has the same thing. You all have to play 38 games. You are the ones that you want to be in Europe. You want to be in all the cup competitions. And you have a squad of 23 players that you can choose from.
Yes.
Right? And that you've got all the tools that you need. If they're not good enough, that's the problem that you have. You have to make them good enough, or you have to change them and get them better.
That's true.
That's the reality of it. But to make it that the schedule that you're getting the early morning kickoff on this and the late kickoff on that to me is just bogus.
Yeah.
It's absolute bogus.
I think the World Cup has thrown a spanner in the works.
Yes, it has.
I think there's an issue, and I think it's stupid to say what they're saying because they're the big clubs are saying what they're the ones who are whining. Yet the big clubs, well, you keep buying all these full internationals from every country on the planet.
Yeah,
and they all go. Rashford goes with England every single time. Ferguson used to box quite clever and say to England and Wales and Scotland and Ireland that, no, they're injured at the moment, they can't come.
Yeah.
And they weren't injured. But he was sparing them from getting injured by overplaying.
Yeah.
And, it's like, man, you don't have that with, Palace doesn't have that issue. Fulham doesn't have that issue because they're not, I would imagine United, Chelsea, Arsenal, Man City, Newcastle, probably half the club disappears during international breaks.
Yeah.
And but then manage it better. Do what Ferguson used to do. And say to the England manager, no, he's not playing, he's injured.
Yeah.
Because they've all written books after they've retired saying they could have got more England caps, but Ferguson stopped them going and you're injured, you ain't going. I don't care. You just tell them you're injured.
Before we go,
right,
Derwynne, I want to find out from you, Derwynne, on this man. It was the anniversary of Sevy's, wasn't it? That he won the Masters.
Yeah. It was his birthday as well.
As well as his passing. He would have, God, when you think of it, he would have been he would have been only 66, Sevi.
Yeah.
My goodness me, when you think of the legacy of the man, and still talking about him.
Wow.
You know?
I didn't realize that he would have only been that age.
Yeah, he would have been only 66. He could have been playing in the Masters, you know.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it, you know. I mean, if Fred Couples can play, Sevi could play, you know. But there you go. It's sad and heartening as well that John Ram, I think he's deserved, and I think this will make him, Derwynne. This will make him.
Well, in reality, there's a little bit of your monkey off your back a bit. It should be a kickstart now for whatever's next. I think it's the US PGA next, isn't it, or the US Open?
Yeah.
And then it'll be the Open, and it should be a bit of a kickstart for him.
Yeah.
But again, horses for courses. It was really interesting. They would. Augusta's gone from being a right to left golf course, trying to hook and draw the ball off the tee, to them just hitting massive, great big. Within the game, we call them cuts, right? They're slices. Yeah. They're aiming at 50 yards left and slicing the hell out of it.
Yeah.
Yet, what's happened is the equipment, the ball, the drivers, everything else has made it easier for them to cut it than draw it.
Yeah.
And then they start overpowering golf courses, which, they've lengthened 13, yet Rahm went in with a 6-iron yesterday. It's nearly 600 yards.
Jesus. Lads, from Derwynne Honan, from Joe Waters and myself, it's been a blast again on Monday, April the 10th, 2023. Thank you, lads, for giving up your bank. It's a bank holiday in this country anyway, I presume, across the place. Yeah. So thank you for your time again, lads, and it's been a blast. And take care, and God bless till we meet again next Monday. Bye-bye.
Take care, lads.
See you, boys.
Bye.
See you, Joe. See you, Pat.
See you, Derwynne. See you, Pat.